Hey y'all, it's Microsoft Tober, which means I'm going to be doing 10 videos in 10 days in the 10th month of the year on the 10th anniversary of the Microsoft Surface RT, which was released this same time back in October of 2012. If you have not caught any of the other videos, you should check them out. I'll leave a playlist here, and you should check out some of these other videos because I'm reviewing some crazy other stuff. Get subscribed to catch the next videos in the process and to catch my coverage of the Surface Pro 9 announcement, which should be coming up later this month. Thanks for watching, and I hope you like the video. Despite all of its flaws, I loved the Surface Duo 2. Yes, past tense, loved. You see, in my last review, I said this. Personally, I will always have a second phone in my other pocket to be able to quickly respond to texts or take better pictures. But the Duo 2, for the near future, will be my primary computing device. And now it's gone. I miss it. But it's in a better place now. Let's talk about it. This is InnoIso, and this is what happened to my Surface Duo 2. In May, I was on vacation with some friends for Memorial Day weekends, and I was using the Surface Duo 2 as my primary phone. Unfortunately, I couldn't use it to take all the pictures, but for everything else, it was working incredibly well. And it was really easy to kind of stay in touch with all of the work that was piling up by using the second screen and quickly sorting through all my tasks and everything that was great about my experience with the Surface Duo 2. The problem was that I happened to be using it in front of my friends who always have a tendency to ask me what weird new product that I happen to be testing out. And one friend in particular, we'll call him Greg, he had a lot of questions about the Surface Duo 2. I started walking him through it, and I even told him to watch my video. Ironically enough, he watched my video, spanned across the Surface Duo 2, and he even watched the criticism that I had with all of the bugs that I was having and how it happened to be shutting down every single time I walked across my office. And despite that, he asked me, "Can I have it?" To which I answered, "Of course not." Being a good friend, I said, you know what, why don't you try it out? I'll take out my SIM, I'll put it in my secondary phone, and you can use this for the rest of the time, rest of the vacation, and you can figure out whether you'd be interested in buying one yourself. He notably has an iPhone, and so this is the first time in many years that he set up an Android device. So I had helped him along the way, made sure it was connected to all of the accounts, and after that moment where I got everything set up for him, he did not take his eyes off the Surface Duo 2 for the rest of the trip. He was using it constantly. Every time we were watching TV, every time he was sitting in the back of the car, he pulled it out at every restaurant we stopped at. And it was amazing because this guy has been using iPhones, Greg, has been using iPhones for years and years. The last time I tried to get him to switch to a Samsung Galaxy phone was probably around 2015 or 2016, where he happened to break the phone multiple times and the phone happened to break all of his iMessages, and so he decided to switch back to his iPhone. So unfortunately, I had thought it lost him for forever, but thankfully, he somehow just loved the experience of using the Surface Duo 2. Now, notably, Greg is a business person. He's kind of similar to myself. He's in a constant state of opening Outlook and presentations and PowerPoint and Excel files and all that stuff. And when he was using the Surface Duo 2, that's exactly what he was doing. He'd bring up an email in Outlook and pull up a PDF of comments and then write up some quick changes to those comments using the Surface Slim Pen and then send those over email in Outlook. Or he'd open up the PowerPoint and he'd edit the PowerPoint with numbers that he looked at in Excel. The same sort of workflows that I was using with my Surface Duo 2 that I found to be so perfect. More so now, more than ever, I want the Surface Duo to succeed because up until this point, it's just been an incredibly awesome but niche product that I thought only people like me would like. But then when I saw someone relatively normal like Greg take the Surface Duo 2 and just see all of the incredible things that can be introduced by a dual screen phone or any sort of foldable, I was a lot more jived to the idea that more people should get this experience. And so, if you personally tend to be the type of person who would benefit from multiple screens or like a lot of kind of productivity-based experiences on your phone, then you should definitely try the Surface Duo 2 or the Galaxy Z Fold 4, which I will cover in another video. That experience is just unlike anything else that you'd get on a standard phone. Yes, typically you can switch between applications. It's just not the same experience. Now, the downside is my understanding, based off of current rumors, is that the Surface Duo 2 probably won't have a sequel in the Surface Duo 3, at least released this year. It could be that it's released into the future, or it could be that Microsoft continues to have problems with releasing new Surface Duos and they've given up on it entirely. I've seen rumors that point either way, which sucks because frankly, foldables like the Surface Duo 2 are exactly the type of phones that are perfect for getting people who have been stuck on iOS devices for decades to switch over. Because as long as Apple doesn't produce a product that is targeted for high productivity users like my friend Greg and like myself, then frankly, they should look into other opportunities from those on the Android side of the fence. It's just something as stupid as iMessage, at least in the United States, that's holding on to these people. And so in order to force Greg to get the opportunity to use the Surface Duo 2, I retained my old line and I basically kept him on my phone line and gave the phone to him. He paid me afterwards and he's now paying me for the cellular service. At least he's supposed to be. That was what it took. I needed to specifically get him to buy the phone off of me and not have to get him to go to a store in order for him to actually start using the phone. Now, he notably is keeping an iPhone in the other pocket because iMessage is gripping onto him with strength of the jaws of life, which is disappointing, but maybe in the future, once he can kind of wean himself off of iMessage, then he switches to the Surface Duo 2 full time. And now I don't want everyone to have to, use multiple phones, especially if one of those phones already has two screens in itself. But it's good enough for Greg, and he still gets that same productivity benefit of the Surface Duo 2, so I'm not going to stop him. As for me, if the Surface Duo 2 experiences a steep discount or the Surface Duo 3 does actually rear its head, then I will probably end up buying another one. But until then I will have to keep on using my Galaxy Z Fold 4, which is not the same experience, but has made a lot of software improvements to actually be competitive and a great experience. But that will have to be left for another video because today is still Surface Tober, and so I will be talking purely about Surface devices. Speaking of which, if you haven't already caught any of my other Surface Tober videos, just so you know, it is the 10-year Surface anniversary, and I am doing 10 videos on Surface devices here in October of 2022. You should check out those other videos because I've got a lot of cool ones planned. Thank you for watching InnoIso. I hope you like this quick coverage of the Surface Duo 2. Let me know down in the comments what you think about the Surface Duo 2 and whether you would ever consider it. How would you use the productivity features? Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one. Surface Duo 2. Look back. Done. Holy cow.